When it opened in 1931, the Metropolitan Theater was described as the most magnificent and impressive structure ever built in the Philippines. Just 14 years later, it was badly hit in the Battle of Manila. The cash-strapped government rebuilt and built other structures, but couldn't spare the funds for the Met. So for decades, it was used for other purposes: boxing, basketball, bars, illegal residence. There was a restoration in the late 1970s and then decline again amid a lack of funds and an ownership dispute. The National Commission of Culture and the Arts is making a new attempt to revive the Met with a planned opening of the main theater as early as December, 86 years after it first opened its doors. The NCCA project is headed by UP professor, architect Gerard Lico. Architect, thank you very much for welcoming us to this site.
Maraming salamat.
Let's begin with this room. This is the lobby. People would enter from the street into here. What are the main features of this room?
Usually, buildings like this are treated like a palace, so the lobby must be a site of luxury. So many of the artifacts here are works of art. For example, we have the two murals by Amorsolo, so representing music and the history of dance. Then we have sculptures by Francesco Monti, an Italian sculptor.
He was a go-to sculptor for the rich of Manila at that time,
At that time, most of the prominent and important buildings have sculptures designed by him.
Was he here?
Yes, he was here.
Okay.
They together with Juan Arellano, they worked in several buildings.
Because the main piece of art here is the building itself by Juan Arellano. There was a stained glass window in front that would bring the light in. Is that right?
So the stained glass is another work, but the stained glass we see now is a reconstruction of the original was badly destroyed during the war.
The Art Deco goes to all the grill work.
The grill work here is a combination of Art Deco and Art Nouveau. So you will see here a combination of gears and some fluid forms representing organic patterns of growth.
These architects had come from abroad at that time, where Art Deco and
so at that time the main style was neoclassicism, the style of government buildings at that time.
Right. So the legislative building, now the museum, etc.
But this building was a turning point in the aesthetics of Juan Arellano, because at that time he just went to this Paris exposition in 1925. So with that exposure, he brought with him a new style, the Art Deco. It was the craze at that time. It was the Jazz Age Baroque, and it was the source of many artistic expression at that time, from cinema, from graphic design to fashion. Art Deco was an expression of the 1930s, 1920s optimism.
And the expression extended itself to the signage above the washrooms as well.
Yes, of course.
You were talked about the two Amorsolo paintings. These are not the paintings anymore.
Yeah, the original is under the custody of the GSIS Museum. So they will repatriate the original painting after we're done with the conservation.
At least that painting, there's still an original one of, right? This one?
The original one was misused when the building was used as a boxing arena. It was used as a matting for the boxing ring.
Did they know that at the time?
I don't think so. They don't know the value of the painting.
Is it documented that that's where it went?
It was a narrative of a former artistic director of this building.
You're now trying to restore this building to its former glory. Why?
Why? Because it is a national cultural treasure. It is a building wherein we can see how the Filipino was able to transform the language of a foreign style like Art Deco into something Filipino to suit his identity. It appropriates a global style into something Filipino.
For me, the best example of that are the mangoes and the bananas that you would see that people will eventually see when the main theater is restored, right? Tell us about that.
So it's the building, the artifacts, and the motifs are a celebration of Filipino tropicality. So even when you see the mangoes and bananas, it resonates, the paintings of Amor Solo, the golden Philippine sunlight. So when we restore the building, we will try to capture that Philippine sunlight.
If this were a theater in Europe, instead of mangoes and bananas, we'd be seeing what?
You'll be seeing their own, their own
Grapes and apples.
Yeah. So mostly Art Deco was a moment wherein we were able to nationalize architecture to suit the Philippines. So remember that this is a colonial period when it was built. So it was parang a subversion of an expression of nationalism during a colonial social order.
So you're trying to restore these, what do you call them? They're on the ceilings here.
The ceiling reliefs.
Ceiling reliefs. You're trying to restore those. What kinds of pains are you going through to restore them?
Of course, we always refer back to the original plans. So fortunately, we have the 1930s plans. It is our Bible in this reconstruction, because we cannot do anything to these artifacts, to the building, without any archival or empirical basis. Everything is as a basis.
The plan might describe the color, but you don't have the actual color in the plan. So I saw upstairs you're doing color testing.
So we do a lot of color testing. So for example, the paint, we strip off some pigments and then we subject them to chemical analysis to really find out what's the original color. So the pink color we see now outside is not actually, the original color is not actually pink.
The pink that we grew up seeing all these years,
it's off-white.
Okay.
It's actually off-white with splatters of colors.
Aside from being an historical building worth preserving, you want to create or recreate a performing arts center here. Tell us what people are going to find here, maybe as early as December, certainly by next year.
So the building is reprogrammed as a cultural hub. So it will be a catalyst for the urban development and urban renaissance of Manila in terms of culture and the arts. So the building is a mix of cultural, it's a mix of cultural venue. So apart from the theater itself, we will have additional facility for viewing films. So we'll have a cinematheque, a black box theater, a library, an archival collection, a conservation laboratory, workshops, and galleries. Basically, it's a one-stop shop for culture and the arts.
And it is literally a one-stop shop because it's in a transportation crossroads, isn't it? The LRT is so nearby.
So we intended the building to be a hub. That's why we are trying to link, to create a bridge to the LRT so that people will have access. So ang problema kasi natin dito, isang reason kaya namatay is yung accessibility. So we want this area to be pedestrianized and linked with the other important structures in Manila like City Hall, National Museum, Intramuros, and the Post Office building.
It's actually pretty fantastic if you look at it in Google Maps or something. It's almost like a mall from City Hall all the way to the Post Office building.
That's why the intention really is to make it a cultural hub of the City of Manila, because kailangan natin ng urban renaissance sa Manila. So even the city government would like to participate in this endeavor.
And what do you foresee or envision happening if and when that grand vision happens, centered on?
So of course, this building should not compete with existing cultural facilities like CCP. It should have its own character. Because, natin, we should cater to the new generation. So that's why we will use new media in this building as well.
It's kind of, over the last, 10 plus years, you've seen all the old finance building, agriculture building, legislative building created into the museum. There is word that the post office building will also be taken over and converted, and that will be the one end of this cultural hub.
So it will be a corridor, so to speak, of culture and the arts in Manila.
So you get here, I think about 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, September 2015.
You get a call and you're asked, how did that happen?
So I used to be the head of the National Committee of Architecture and Allied Arts at the NCCA. So more or less, I know how NCCA operates. So, and I have been a university architect of UP. So I gained experience, no, in modifying and rehabilitating old structures like the UP Theater and other facilities of
Nothing
UP
like
Diliman.
this, though.
Nothing like this, no, because this is pre-war. No? But I had experience, no, working with the Juan Arellano building, the College of Education and the College of Law. So more or less, I know his style. So, of course, when I received the call, I dropped everything, no, because the Metropolitan Theater is important because for many of us, we have some form of memory, that happened here.
You yourself have a memory.
Yeah, I was here, no, when I was in grade school.
What
no?
were you watching?
I don't know. I've seen the Met for the first time, no, when I watched the show of Vilma Santos, BIP. No?
At that time.
It's a Friday. No? I can still remember the opening song. No?
So you get the call, and you arrive here, and you've told me that in this very room, there's a mound of debris, and you're standing on top.
So this was in a very bad shape, no. So it was very dirty, overgrown with trees, no. So that's detrimental to a building, no. Yung root system niya. Tapos because water, pumasok yung tubig dito.
There were trees inside.
Hindi na, doon sa ibang parte na building, there are root system,
Okay,
no, finding its way to the ground.
Yeah.
No? Talagang it was really a derelict, no? A derelict. No? So talagang you find mounds of garbage, mounds of debris. No? It's like a war zone. No? It's a post-apocalyptic site.
And you realize there are no plans. And for several months, how are you going about?
So it's a good thing that Facebook, no, social media, no, through social media we were able to generate interest. Now, for example, the plans we received from the wife of Howie Severino. So she messaged me via Facebook, Ipat Luna, who happens to be a co-awardee, no, in TOYM, no, in 2004. She gave me, no, the copy of the plan.
Do you know why she has the copy of the plans?
She didn't have any idea bakit meron siya noon. No? So fortunately, because of that...
sure ka, those are the plans.
Yes, because may tatak eh. May signature ni Juan Arellano.
Okay.
So fortunately, nandun lahat yung detalye.
Before those plans arrived, how are you going to go about this job?
We will, what, even though we don't have the plans, we will do the scientific method. No? So we will do three-dimensional scanning, so to create as-built plans. No? So nakatulong din naman, pero mas nakatulong yung archival documents kasi there are things that were gone, no? And we were able to reconstruct.
And that's not the only thing you've gotten care of, or thanks to Facebook. Until now, you keep on receiving.
So for example, some of the missing details, no, may nagsisend, no? So maganda yung social media. So heritage, no, is no longer confined, no, in the real world. It's in social media as well. So for example, someone, no, sent me the original inaugural program, no, in 1931, where nandun yung mga original artworks. Some of them are missing, no? And then from that souvenir program, we were able to see na iba pala yung proscenium design. No?
So the proscenium is a recent discovery of yours. It's the front of the theater. If you're in the audience, it's the front view. And what did you see there?
Actually, our idea talaga is to recreate the 1930s Metropolitan Theater because the proscenium we have now doesn't belong to the style because it's neoclassical style. So I want to...
So you knew something was wrong?
Something was wrong, and I saw the proscenium, it's the curvature, no? From the old photos and the plans are different. So I was wondering, bakit nagkaganon ito? What's the problem? And I want to recreate the 1930s proscenium. But when looking at it, I flashed the light. No? I saw a graffiti, no, hiding behind the wall. So there's a name of Juancho. So thanks to Juancho, without his graffiti, we would not have discovered the Francesco Monti original bas-relief sculpture hiding behind a second proscenium built over the original.
And you think that they built that second proscenium just so that they could accommodate an audio system?
I think that's one of them. I think it's very difficult, no, to restore the.
Aside from receiving the plans 3 months into the job, was that discovery about the proscenium the most significant for you?
I think yes, no, because it was under our noses, and nandun lang pala siya. Tapos it's like I don't know, it's like an urban archaeology, no? So there are also, no, urban myths about this building, that there are underground conduits running from insular ice plant, no? Yung cold air, a channel underground. No?
The air conditioning system historically was supposed to come from the ice.
Yeah. I thought it was an urban legend, but because we used the latest technology, the ground penetrating radar, we were able to identify the tunnels underneath the auditorium.
The tunnels which flood this place.
Yeah, yung pala yung source ng flooding. So because yung insular ice plant was demolished to make way for the LRT, hindi na-plug yung mga tunneling system. So it is the source of our perennial flooding in our orchestra pit.
Let's go back to how historical this building was. What were some of the main events which happened here in the early years?
Okay, so apart from an important performance venue, no, many firsts no, happening. For example, Mickey Mouse made his debut, no, in the Metropolitan
so
Theater.
So this was both performing arts and a movie.
A cinema, no, a cinema. That's why even the first film, no, of LBN had its premiere here, no, with President Quezon attending the premiere night. No? So it was really a historical event. Of course, apart from that, many national artists like Jovita Fuentes, Felipe De Leon, Atang de la Rama performed in the Met. So it was really an important venue, and at the same time, in the public consciousness, many films were shot here. No? For example, the iconic films of Sharon Cuneta, like Between Walang Ningning, the finale was shot here. No? So, and even
history na yun.
And even that film, no, helped us, no, in our visualization, no, of how the under ceiling of the balcony looked like. Kasi sira siya ngayon, because of artifacts, no, movies like that, we're able to know, no, ano itsura niya before. No?
So, 1931 to 1945, this was an arts mecca. 1945 comes, is bombed, and for 3 or 4 decades afterwards, misuse. 1978, Imelda Marcos revives it. What was the first opening then?
So the first opening was a show, no, by the Kabataang Barangay. No, it featured in a way Amy Marcos. No?
She was the star.
I think so. In the program I saw. No?
And then we fast forward to 2017 or maybe 2018, when there will be once again a premiere night here. How confident are you that this will happen by this year, December, or by next year?
Of course, no, that's a difficult question. So we will strive and do our best to open this to the public. At least they will see, no, the development of the Metropolitan Theater by December, and we will open a visitor center for the public to really appreciate, no, the Metropolitan Theater as a heritage site. No?
Architect Gerard Dico, thank you very much for this time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.